Okay, so for this tutorial, we are going to have a look on how to recreate the Brooklyn Nine-Nine opening sequence, but with us in there. Right, so this is the effect we're going for. Right, so basically have a character, a freeze frame, a zoom, a filter in the background, and then the strip line in with the text. This is what we're looking for. No. So that's what we'll be working with on After Effects today. Cool. So let's jump into After Effects. Let's jump into After Effects. Now, first of all, you need your footage, and your footage must be recorded in front of a green screen. You can actually use footage that was not recorded in the green screen. It will take way longer for you to actually achieve this. So having the green screen stuff is actually better. Cool. Also, it's fine if there's like people around or it doesn't cover the entire background. It's cool. We're gonna get rid of this. We're using a mask. Okay. So first thing is to grab our video and drag it down to our new composition button. Okay, so whenever you grab something from your project window down to the new composition button, it creates a new composition with the same resolution, time, settings, audio and video codecs and everything of the original file that dropped in there. Okay, basically grabs all the digital information from that file and creates a composition that matches it. Okay, so if I am to check my composition settings, it's HDTV 1080-25 because this footage is originally at 25 frames per second. Excuse me, and its duration is 3 seconds and almost 4 seconds. Cool. So here we are. First thing is we need to actually cut this footage to the section where I want my thing to happen. So let's say I turn around frame 115. So I'm gonna make it start right here. I can just click on the edge of this strip for my layer and shrink it like that. And then I can move this forward. To move this forward, grab the strip from the remaining part and move it forward like this. And then I want it to end here. So just grab the end, bring it here. Cool. This is my last frame. So what I'll do with this one is take a snapshot. Woo. And I can click here to show my snapshot. Okay, well, give me a second. Okay, if the screenshot doesn't work, what you can do is take a screenshot of your new. It's not going to be the same, but just for the sake of this, let's just grab it, screenshot, and then import it to After Effects by pressing Command-I. And then just drop that on the timeline above your video and make sure it starts when the video ends. Cool. And of course, as well, just extend it to be the same size as the video. And now it's going to be a little bit pixelated and all, but you can just take full here. There you go. That's slightly better. Doesn't matter much because we'll be animating the sequence as well. Also, yeah, it's a little bit off as well, but that's okay because we're going to have a zoom effect, so this won't matter much. It'll be very snappy. Okay. So first things first, let's get rid of that green screen, shall we? Under Effects and Presets, if you go to Keying, you'll find Keylight 1.2. Grab that guy and drop in your video. And then the Keylight controls will show up on this side of the screen. Now, first thing is the screen color control, where there is an eyedropper. Click on that, and then click on your green. Shazam, gone. But if you change your view to screen matte, you'll notice that not all of it is actually gone. So basically what is in white is showing is what After Effects is keeping, and what is in black is what After Effects is getting rid of. All the gray areas in between are areas that After Effects is not really sure what to do with. So we need to actually tell After Effects to get rid of the gray areas as well. And by doing that, we can actually just increase our screen gain and reduce our screen balance a little bit, to the point where we get a very sharp outline around our character, around our subject, and a very solid black around the green screen. So when we go back to our final result, this is what we're looking for. Okay? And now to get rid of the guys on the sides, we can just go to Layer, Mask, New Mask. And then if you're not seeing anything, you can click on this button here to show your mask, okay? And your outlines in general. So this border around my image is now a mask. If I double click this side, I can just shrink like this. And done. There you go. I am now isolated from everything else. Cool. Then what we can do is we can grab the key light. Just click on the key light effect right here. Command C to copy. Click on your photo, Command V to paste it. And then in your photo, also go and make a mask. Double click on the side of the mask and shrink it like that. Shrink the other side. And beautiful. There you go. Bam. Right. Now we need a background. So I'm going to go get a classroom for me. When you're looking for materials for this kind of stuff, it's always a good idea to go to Tools and change the size to large on the Google image search. And this will show you the larger images first, and they will always have better resolution or a resolution that matches the video that you're creating. I'm going to go with this one. So just going to open my image in the new tab and then save my image. And now I'm going to go back here. If you cannot see your projects tab on here, you can double click on these two arrows. Sorry, just click on the double arrows and click project. And now Command I to import that classroom image. You just drag it on your timeline, drop it on the last layer of your timeline and make it big enough to cover that screen. There you go. So now we've basically replaced my background with this classroom. Bam. Cool. We are basically halfway done. What we need to do now is get the strip flying in and the text, and also the background filter. Background filter is really, really easy, right? All you can do is, all you have to do is just create a new solid. So I'm going to make a red solid, okay? And I'm going to hit OK. And then I'll move this between the background and my video, all right? And also I'm going to make it start only when the frame freezes, okay? Also, I need to see what's behind that. I need to make this red solid into a filter. So if I toggle my switches and modes down here, my blending modes will show up. I just have to change the red solid blending mode to multiply. Now I can see the classroom, the background, and perhaps just bring down the opacity to, let's say, 80%. Okay? Cool. So far, this is what we have. Bam. Right. Now let's get another red solid to be behind the video and make it start at the same time that the frame freezes. Cool. We're going to get the solid here and turn that into a strip by just like this. There we go. Cool. Now we can get this strip and just rotate it a little bit. If you want to do manual rotation, you can press W on your keyboard or click on the rotation tool right here. And just click on that and rotate it slightly. Okay. Adjust the scale to make sure it covers the entire screen. And there you go. Right. Now let's animate this into the screen, right? So this is frame number 0. Let's get our position control open and create a keyframe when our video changes, when our frame freezes. And now let's get this and move it outside the screen. Now let's go forward in time, let's say only a couple frames, like I am at 120 and then I'm doing it at 20 seconds and then bring that in. When you bring that in, see if you can match the direction of your strip to the line here of animation. right? So that way, when it moves in a straight line. It's really fast. That's what we're looking for, snappy animations. You can see the difference if I just move this forward like 5 frames. It doesn't have the same impact, okay? You're looking for a very quick, snappy transition, all right? To make it look even faster, we can go back to switches and modes and turn on our motion blur, okay? Not on this one, on the solid, okay? So now when we play, there is a little bit of motion blur going on here. You can see it very clear on this frame. Okay, now it's time for the text. Our text needs to show up, let's say, halfway through the strip. So let's get our text tool right here, or Command T, and just drag a box to type in starring in the size that actually happened, that actually shows up. I made that starring Helvetica. Not that big because we need to create some text hierarchy. I'm gonna put it like around here and rotate a little bit, roughly to the same angle as this strip. Yeah, like that. Cool. Again, my text needs to show up only when the frame freezes. And I'm also going to get this guy and duplicate it. To duplicate a layer, all you have to do is press Command D. Right. So now I have 2, oh boy, 3. Cool. So this one will be my first name. And it's going to be in impact. And the other one will be my last name. Also in full caps and impact. Okay, so let's get this lettering working. I'm gonna get this guy, bring it down here slightly and just rotate a little bit to adjust. Some fine tuning going on here. This should be bigger. Right, so if you look at our reference footage, you can see that the text flies in from different directions. Flies in from off screen, then from the left and from the right. That's what we're gonna do with our text right here. So the starring, for example, I'm going to take my position control, open up, and get it to start, let's say, behind me, over here. And then when the strip is in place, I'll put it in here, like that. Just make sure it's in a straight line. Beautiful. And of course, I think I'll just put motion blur on everything. Okay, that was one. Now let's get my last name to start off screen. Turn on the position control, go forward in time to the same time that the starring comes into screen, and just move it like this. So now this is what we have. It's already looking like the Brooklyn Nine-Nine opening, right? Nice. And last one, which is the trickiest one, I'm gonna get my own name and make it fly in from off screen. To do that, like from the front of the screen, I'm going to work with my scale. So the scale needs to be start like, let's say 2000. I'm talking about like this big, okay? And then what we need to do is shrink that down to 100%. Or the original size it was, which is around here, 120%, okay? And that should happen only, and my name should only show up when the animation begins. So this snappy effect gives the effect that the letter is coming from outside the screen, from the viewer's perspective, like so. One more time. Okay, maybe that could happen slightly afterwards, just to give time to the other animations to happen as well, because otherwise it gets in the way of the other ones. Okay, that looks better. Okay, nice. Now the last thing is the camera zoom. Now, this part is completed pretty much. Okay, to do the camera, we're gonna need something slightly more advanced. Once you're happy with your composites and your animation, you need to actually do the camera zoom. So what we're gonna do for that is, oh yes, of course, for everything that is animated here, would be nice to add our out points and our in points. There we go. Is it out on the first one? Is it in on the first one? So play that part once again. Yep, it's looking slightly better. It's cool. Okay, now for the camera zoom, select all your layers. You can just drag a box like this to select all of them. Or you can just click in one of them and go Command A to select all. Once you have that, press Command Shift C. Command Shift C opens your pre-compositing settings. It's basically to some degree like grouping in Photoshop. Okay, don't change any of the settings apart from the name. Just hit OK. So basically, you have compiled all your composition into one single layer. Right? Now we need to make our camera effect here. So if I want to mark this point specific in time, I can pull this little flaggy thing down here and just drag it over here. This is basically giving us a marking on our timeline from about where such and such is happening. It's basically a reference for us. It's not changing anything in your actual animation. Bam, that's it. Now I'm gonna go to layer, new camera. Don't change any of the settings, just hit OK. Now, this is very important. It says the camera lines do not affect 2D layers. You need to actually make all your layers 3D. So we're gonna hit OK, leave the camera there, and then we can click here on this little cube, okay, the tick box underneath the cube, and then a motion blur as well, to make sure that our camera will affect our layers. Make sure to go back on your pre-comp, which you can just do by double clicking on it, and turn on 3D for everything else as well. Okay, so now we can actually animate our camera. So for the camera, let's drop down here and open transform. And then we are going to make a keyframe for point of interest and position, both of them. Then we're going to go forward in time, let's say around here. So we have a reference of where the text is going to land. And then we're going to work with camera controls. There are three main camera controls on the top here. This one is the camera orbital control, which is for you to do like this sort of camera movement, which we're not going to play with. Not at this stage, at least. The next one is your left and right and up and down. Okay, basically your pan and your tilt. And finally, the last one, which is this one, that's your dolly, which is basically like your zoom. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to zoom in close to me up until perhaps the height of my elbows, and then use the pan and tilt control to move the camera slightly to the side like this. So now when I play, you can even see the camera moving in closer to me. And that is it for our Brooklyn Nine-Nine animation effect. Cool. If you want to do some fine tuning, you can also make these guys out and go into the graph editor and forget the graph editor. No, that's way too many lines. Don't worry about the graph editor. Just do it.